When we were little, we all dreamt of being wonderful people, of having this special ability that could make a difference to the world, of transforming the lives of people and doing heroic deeds. But in the journey of life, somewhere because of adversities, challenges, etc., those dreams got frittered away. The purpose now is to reinstall those dreams, to awaken our best self. Where does the desire for awakening our best self arise from? From the fact that our source God is perfect. And as His little children, we seek to be like Him. We seek to be nothing less than perfect. The auto script that He has put inside of us is telling us, I have not yet become the way I need to be. I have not yet reached in life where I need to reach. I have not yet done what I should be able to do. This quest to grow is fundamental to the purpose of our life. We are not static beings, but ever-evolving consciousness. And to discover the mystery of our infinite potential is to be probing into the secret of the universe itself. How do we go about it? Let me start off with the story of 3 thieves. The first was Immanuel Ninja, who's mentioned in Wikipedia as Jim the Pen Man. It was the year 1896, and he and his wife were checking out from a store in New Jersey. He handed a $20 bill to the clerk. Her hand was wet, and when she touched the note, the paint came off. She was shocked. Is he handing me a counterfeit? But he's a respectable 70-year-old gentleman, and he's been visiting me since 20 years. Nevertheless, on hunch, she informed the police. They obtained a search warrant and entered his home and saw his modus operandi. 3 notes were works in progress. He used to purchase paper, bond paper, and then dip it in coffee to make it transparent. Put it on a note with light from below to make the initial tracing, and then fill the colors so perfectly that people could not know the difference. He was such a master in his art that if his note ever got detected, it would be a collector's treasure. They would be willing to spend $5,000 to buy the $20 bill. Now, $5,000 of 1896 is equal to 1.25 million of today. Nevertheless, he was finally put in jail and received a 6-year prison term. Now, whom do you think that Immanuel Ninja was stealing from the most? Not from the people. In fact, he was often called the Robin Hood thief. Because if ever his note got discovered, it would be like a treasure. He was stealing from his own self. God had blessed him with such abilities. And he was shortchanging himself by painting counterfeit notes. Next, we'll visit A person called the gentleman thief who operated in the roaring 1920s in the New York tri-state region. His name was Arthur Barry, and he used to only steal from the upper echelons of society. When he came to know of a social party that was about to happen, he would go in uninvited, mingle with the people, find an opportunity and go upstairs and understand the map above and leave one window open. He would then return in the wee hours of the morning. He was prolific in stealing and went about stealing about $750,000 a year for 10 years at a stretch. People considered it a status symbol if Arthur Barry stole from them. And they would mention, yesterday he came to steal from my house. Nevertheless, one day he was received 3 bullet wounds in his arm. He was caught. And then he was put in jail. But surprisingly, he escaped from there and started living incognito somewhere. But a lady detected him and turned him in. He then received an 18-year prison term. Finally, when the term was over, he was now no longer a criminal in the eyes of society. So he went to live unannounced in the New England region. Nevertheless, the word got around that Arthur Barry, the famous ex-thief, is in our midst. So news reporters from around the country congregated and they questioned him and interviewed him. And one question that came up was, Mr. Barry, from whom did you steal the most? He said, the people I was stealing from were also thieves. Because if I would steal 300,000, they would report to the insurance a theft of 800,000. But the person I stole from the most was myself. Because God blessed me with such tremendous abilities to strategize, plan, such dexterity of my musculoskeletal system. And what was I using it for? Now we move on to the third thief. And you may not like to know who the third thief was. Nevertheless, it's my duty to tell you. The third thief is you and me. And whom are we stealing from? From the infinite potential that God has blessed us with. If we are not fulfilling the purpose of our life, which is to grow and awaken our best self, we are cheating. It may not be a theft in the eyes of the law, but it's a theft from the graces of God. Some people say the biggest debacle in the world is climate change, global warming, depletion of mineral resources, etc., etc. But I feel it is the untapped human potential that is frittering away. Nevertheless, if you start implementing the knowledge, then when you look into the mirror, you will see the face of an ex-thief. We all have infinite potential for growth, no matter what our present condition or past mistakes. And how do we understand that? How do we believe in that? Well, it will all start off by understanding your own nature. Who are you? Viktor Serebriakov was the president of Mensa. It is the worldwide society for the superintelligent. You need to have an IQ of top 2% to qualify for its membership. In the year 1950, the worldwide membership of Mensa had reduced to 4. And the person who brought it up was Viktor Serebriakov. When he was 15 years old, you'll be surprised to know that his teacher told him he's a dunce and he'll never amount to anything in studies. He believed his teacher and he dropped out of school. He started working in the lumberjack industry. But 17 years later, at the age of 32, he applied to the army for recruitment. And as a part of their admission procedure, they checked his IQ. In those days, IQ was a big criteria. They had a max score on their scale of 161, and he crossed that scale. So all they knew was that his IQ was more than 161. And that was the first time he came to know that he was not a dunce. Everything in his life changed. He continued in the lumberjack industry, but he learned the technology, started writing books, joined the Mensa, and he lifted the organization as its president until his death in 1990. How did the transformation take place? When he came to know who he was. And his wrong belief had trapped him before that. It is possible that you and I may be having some debilitating beliefs that are crippling us from awakening our best self. One eaglet with its talons held a branch of a tree and it was flapping its wings. So the boy came and saw and said, "Oh my dear eaglet, what is the matter?" The eaglet said, "I am trying to fly but unable to do so." And the boy said, "Look, you are holding on to the branch. You need to release these talons of yours, only then can you fly." The eaglet realized that it was itself latching on to the tree. So what is these beliefs that we are latching on to? Well, it is lack of knowledge and understanding.